Hello everyone, my name is Hannele Koivu and I will be your host today in this webinar. First I want to thank you for joining Fluido's Informatica Cloud webinar. This is the second webinar of series of 3 around Informatica Cloud. The first one we had was about giving a complete view of a customer with Cloud Customer 360 or Cloud Master Data Management as they call the product in the US. The one yet to follow after this one will be about Informatica Cloud Services, the integration platform as a service. You will receive invitations on those as the time comes. Within the next 30 minutes, we are going to tell you how Informatica's Cloud Test Data Management solution will truly shorten the time spent on creating test data and puts your professionals and external consultants to do something more valuable like testing what has been developed. But first, let's see what our agenda looks like. I want to introduce you to Aki Teronen, who's not only Fluido's head of technology, but also one of Fluido's founding partners. Aki has prepared a live demo on Cloud Test Data Management. I try to keep my slideware as short as possible and leave as much time as possible for Aki's demo. Also, we have reserved time for Q&A session in the end of this webinar. Please use GoToMeeting's chat to write down your questions. We'll pick them up and answer in the end. Our contact details will be available after the webinar for you to use, and also the slides presented here will be delivered to you afterwards. So let's start. First, just a couple of slides about Fluido and our journey with Informatica Cloud. Let me take you back to last August to a beautiful resort in Denmark called Marienlyst. Fluido had its annual company day there, and this picture was taken on Thursday evening just before our theme dinner. Our theme was Alice in Wonderland. The reason I wanted to show you this picture is that us, employees that make Fluido, we are in a kind of good way a goofy bunch of people who throw themselves into anything with 110%. No matter whether we want to get inspired in business or pleasure. There were approximately 100 people there, and no one decided not to wear a costume. The same applies with the business we do. Our customers say that Fluido is the kind of partner whose employees just take that extra mile when least expected but the most appreciated. As our partnership with Informatica Cloud is rolling its second year, our integrations team is extremely passionate to get things done right and more. But how did our paths cross with Informatica Cloud? Since the very beginning of Fluido's founding in 2010, we have been a Salesforce partner, and as a consulting partner, our customers require integrations to their solutions. Before Informatica Cloud partnership, we gave customer a handful of integration vendors that had a good reputation in the market. But from there on, customer was more or less left alone with a new vendor, a new agreement, and a new service provider. In the end of the day, Informatica Cloud being our choice and recommendation for integration platform, it's been very natural for us. We are not anymore forced to stick with Salesforce-related work only, but have been able to extend our Salesforce ecosystem with a solution that was actually originally developed for integrating Salesforce, and that has developed a few Salesforce-specific solutions on it. We can provide true value for our customers in offering well-recognized solution by the leading analysts for integrations that are today in even increasing role almost at any company. If you ask our, for example, CEO Kai Mäkelä of how he would define us in Fluido, he would most likely say, well, we are a friendly bunch of cloud superheroes with a passion to change the way companies engage with their customers. That statement has led us to define our mission. No matter where you are, what device you're using at that moment, but if you need to make a decision, you sure want to have all data available to base your decision on. Salesforce's Force.com platform has been well adopted as a technology platform. Some customers have taken Salesforce almost as it is, but some have done major customization. Once you add data coming in from integrations, you sure want to make sure all development is synced, well tested with appropriate data. That's why we're so passionate of making customer data meaningful in the moment that matter the most. So let's dive into today's subject. No more about company presentation. Let's go for cloud test data management. When talking about Informatica cloud solutions, we are talking about a solution platform that is delivered from the cloud. Not only is Informatica delivering integration platform, but also a couple of applications that are very closely tied with Salesforce. If we take a look at the integrations, we talk about traditional data integration, data flowing from the source solution to the target. Of course, data can be aggregated, conditionalized, enriched depending on various of attributes, but yet, data integration is about data moving from system A to system B. Once the data is needed as a part of a process flow, the data must be available real time. I think a good example would be a case in which customers is placing an order through Community and collects daily product prices from your backend pricing tool. You cannot expect customer to wait a few minutes or until the next day to proceed with his or her order. The data must be processed real time upon the request. Test data management is more or less a blessing to any Salesforce administrator. It's pretty difficult to see the value of it unless you've been involved with Salesforce development project and waited for some test data to be imported to your sandbox. The more complex data relations there are, the more time our consultants need to spend in creating data sets. Plus, in many cases, the production data is the same than in testing, which may actually create some security issue. You may want to consider masking the data so that the data structure is there, but the data itself is phony. With test data management tool, you spend hours instead of days in creating the test data, but we'll dive deeper into this a little later. Data quality is about cleansing and deduplicating your existing Salesforce database. The product is called Cloud Customer 360. It identifies from any Salesforce object duplicates which may be merged either manually or automatically. If you do not wish to let duplicates in Salesforce in the first place, then you might want to consider the Cloud Master Data Management, or Cloud MDM as we call it. In Cloud MDM, all source systems are integrated with Salesforce through Cloud Customer 360. With that tool, your Salesforce database stays clean, consolidated with external sources, and data corruption is not likely to happen. But let's go back to test data management. One of the key drivers for cloud-based application adoption has been the desire to cut down the administrative costs. That has actually been achieved. However, costs are still there, but in a different form. Companies are finding themselves spending an equal amount of money or even more on testing and development. Depending on Salesforce configuration complexity, preparing an empty Salesforce sandbox for a release can take several days. Informatica's cloud test data management eliminates the complexity by populating Salesforce sandboxes with the right subset of related data in a way that completely secures sensitive information, just with a few mouse clicks. With the next coming 3 slides, I'm giving you 3 most valuable use cases customer can benefit from cloud test data management solution for Salesforce. To maximize your Salesforce sandboxes requires data subsetting. Data subsetting keeps your sandboxes within data limits. Data is complete, current, and reliable. It takes basically a few clicks in an intuitive wizard, and you are being walked through with pre-built templates, and data filters the entire process of copying related subsets of data between Salesforce orgs. Your tests are as reliable as the data being run against them. Both effective testing and therefore also release management require test data that preserves the relationships between object records in Salesforce. No more populating sandboxes manually one object at a time with spreadsheets. With test data management, you can simply choose a simple object to include all related data of the associated standard and custom objects in your sandbox. The result is test environment that mirrors the richness and referential integrity of production environment. And yet, without the need of a large storage requirement. Have you ever thought of the consequences to copy personally identifiable and other sensitive information from production to less secure sandboxes, and how that might expose your organization to unwanted risk and the possibility of significant fines for non-compliance with the regulations such as HIPAA, GLBA, PCI DSS, EU Data Protection Directive, etc. Cloud Test Data Management provides a configurable masking algorithms to announce most common sensitive data elements. Data still appears real and preserves patterns found in production, but the contents are phony. Your Salesforce sandboxes remain secure and compliant with corporate, geographic, and industry-specific data privacy regulations. In his demo, Aki will show you how to create test data from Salesforce production org to developer sandbox. Data will contain standard and custom objects as well as relations. Also, Aki will show how the data masking works. So, there you go, Aki. Go ahead.
Thank you, Hannele. So, first of all, let's go through our setup of environments. And I have one production-like demo environment. On the left-hand side, the Salesforce production org. And then I have a separate newly refreshed sandbox, this dev sandbox. And now I have data in the production. I have just refreshed the sandbox, so I don't have any data there. And I will create a configuration in the TDM, test data management solution, now to populate my standard and custom object data into my developer sandbox. And we can look also here the data model. So the blue ones on the top, account and contact, are obviously Salesforce standard objects. Then in my production environment, I have also added 3 custom objects. So just imaginary objects, benefit card that is related to the contact, and under that I have a junction object, benefit claim. So it describes usage of benefit card. So as an example, I may have a contact, Aki, who has used his benefit card to claim a free flight, and the benefit object describes then our catalog of different benefits that could include, for example, flights or dinner vouchers and so on. So I have few thousand of each. Maybe the highest volume is in the benefit claim, as it's sort of usage history, time-stamped usage history object. So with that, I will show now in my production and sandbox environment the setup. So there you go. You should be now able to see the Salesforce production environment. So as mentioned, I have here now few thousand account records. Each of the accounts have at least one contact record in the system. So we can look at the contact tab. And under the contacts, we have configured now the benefit card. Something to already highlight in this production view of contact data is that I have, for example, email addresses in the system. So when I will configure the test data management transfer to Sandbox, I aim to mask the emails so that in the Sandbox it would still maintain the valid email address format, but wouldn't be a real address. So if we still look at the benefit card, so benefit card is fairly simple object. It has relation to the contact, field named card holder. Then we have also card number and the level of the card. Still drilling down to the benefit card, we can see that benefit card now has the history information. So these benefits have been claimed with this card. So this is our production setup. And in another tab here I have a Salesforce Sandbox now, developer Sandbox, recently refreshed without any data. So we don't have any accounts. We can go to the contacts as well. No data so far. As well, the benefit cards tab is still empty. So now what I would like to do is that I populate the exact same data set from the production. So I would have accounts, contacts, and the benefit cards that populated with production data. So to do that, I will move to Informatica Cloud. I have done some preparation here so that I have actually created the connections to my production, Salesforce, and developer Sandbox. So this requires that I enter the username and password security token for those environments, and with that Informatica Cloud has connection to my environments. So once those connections have been set up, I can go ahead and create a new data masking task. Once I click new, I can give it a name. Then I move to the next step where I can actually choose my source data connection. And as I had it already configured, this lists already my existing connections, and I will now choose the production as the source. And then I have option to choose my source data object. I could use also single if I would only like to simply populate some customer account data. I could just go with that. But as my scenario contained multiple objects containing standard and custom object, I choose the multiple option, which gives me possibility then to go into a wizard where I choose my objects. And in my case, I'm mostly interested in the benefit card information. So I would like to populate the benefit card. Our custom application is built around that, all the logic around the card. So I would like to populate mostly that and then some related information for that. So I will type in here benefit to see which objects I have with that name, and I choose the benefit card as my main object. So next, now based on the data model, I would want to have the parent contact and parent account for this benefit card, plus also the child benefit claim information. So I need to highlight the main object and go again to the selector here, which now proposes me the related objects to my card information. So here I can see a listing of child and parent objects for this benefit card. So based on the data model, I had the benefit claim as the child. So this historical usage information for my card. Plus then, as the parent, I have directly the contact. Now with the card holder as the field and relationship name. So I will choose those two and go ahead to the next step. Now the system also is aware that I have now chosen an object that is actually dependent on another one. So it says that I will need to go to this benefit claim object that actually has another parent object that is the object is dependent on. So this is, in Salesforce terms, this is a master detail object junction to a two parent objects. In this case, the card and the benefit itself. So I will first resolve that issue here. So here I can see actually the star mark, which means that it's required. So I choose the benefit information, which now was like our catalog of different products, so to say. So with that, the message is gone. I still want to have the account data as well, so that my contacts wouldn't be orphans. So I'll go to the contact once more. And from the list of parents, possible parents, I choose the account. So now I have my model here populated. So I have, reflecting now to the data model picture, I have account, contact, the card below that, the claim, usage history for the card, and the actual benefits. So I can go now to the next step and choose the Sandbox as the target. The next important point here is to choose whether it's insert or update or upsert. And upsert, obviously, in my case, would be the best if I would like to repopulate the data, let's say every week. So I wouldn't create duplicates in the system, but it would always update existing and insert new ones. I also choose a relationship field to relate the child records in the system. This is something that Informatica Cloud takes care of. So it actually creates you external ID fields behind the scenes for the load. I have also option to filter my data. I could filter, for example, all the Finnish accounts. In my case, I want all data, so I just go to next. And as a final step, I will want to mask my contact email address. So in the masking step, I have actually many options to mask, for example, last name, first name, street, all address information. In my case, I will now just mask the email address. I want to make sure that no emails are sent to valid customer addresses from my Sandbox environment by accident. So this is already pre-configured masking. I don't need to do, I could fine-tune it behind the configure step, but in my case, I keep the default. And finally, I need to choose the environment where to run the task. With this, I could now save my configuration and see it's there nicely saved, and I can launch it immediately with the Run Now button, which I will do next. every job that is running in Informatica Cloud can be in real time seen in the Monitor tab. So I have in the activity log, I have a list of all tasks running. So in the activity monitor, I have all the tasks running at that time, and I can see the exact status of each task. So now I can see that the job started and it has actually already loaded 1,000 accounts and contacts are being loaded. So meanwhile it's doing that, I could actually now already go into the Sandbox to see that my accounts are populating. So now I went back to the developer Sandbox, so we could take a look into the accounts tab. That I have now some account data here. Reported by Informatica, there should be now about 1,000 accounts. And we can look also what we have now in the contacts tab, where we have also data now populated. And comparing to production data now, my email addresses are completely random string type of emails, not valid, but still maintaining the valid format so that data is able to save in the Salesforce database. We can quickly take a look also in the card tab to see that also my card data came through, and now also with the related information. So it was able to also resolve all the mandatory relations to the benefit and benefit card. So with that, we are ready for some questions, if any. Hopefully this demo was useful. So thank you.
So no questions in the chat. So the presentation will be delivered to all participants. And if any questions arise afterwards, there was myself and Aki's contact details on the front page. So please do not hesitate to contact if you have more questions. So thank you very much for joining this webinar. I think our time is up, and it's time to move on with our next Wednesday's daily schedule. So thank you very much and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.